Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So in this one here, I wanted to talk about the ones who live and also sort of the future of the Walking Dead, because Gimple actually did an interview the other day and he talks about the future of the Walking Dead, and yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, before we go any further, make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. It's now February, so I do imagine that there's going to be, promotions starting at some point this month. I don't know entirely when, but Dead City is likely coming out like the first week of May, so it's basically 3 months until then. And so I do think that in a month from now, for sure, like in March, we're going to know a lot more information. I think things right now are just very, very quiet, but like as soon as we get that announcement, it's going to pick up a lot. So yeah, just expect The Walking Dead to come a lot more alive in the next like month or so for sure. But yeah, I do want to talk about the ones who live and whatnot. So yeah, let's actually get into this here. So first of all, the ones who live at the Saturn Awards, which I think happened, I don't know, at some point this week in the last couple of days anyways, maybe it was last weekend. I wasn't really following it too much. I know the ones who live was like up for an award or whatever, but apparently it did actually win an award. It won an award for best television presentation. So really incredible, honestly. Like the thing about the ones who live compared to the other spin-offs and whatnot is that it is winning a lot of awards all the time. There's a lot of, I guess in general, people just really like that show. And it's just really interesting when you compare the ones who live to the other shows. Like, like when I think about it in terms of which show do I prefer, it's really hard to say because honestly, it has changed a lot. Like while I was watching The Ones Who Live, I was like, oh yeah, this is like the best show for sure. But then the finale, I was like, I don't know, and it kind of changed it for me a little bit. And then, Daryl Dixon for sure was like my favorite show. I really liked season 1, but then season 2 kind of changed that a little bit. And I was like, I don't know. I kind of like The Ones Who Live a little bit more. But Dead City, like season 1 to me was all right. It was a decent season, but I do think the next season here is going to be a lot better because of a lot of what we're seeing in terms of the villain and the story and everything. And a lot of, the fact that it's going to be 8 episodes and everything. Like I think Dead City season 2 might be the best season out of all the seasons from the spinoff so far. So it is kind of hard to say as of right now which show I do prefer overall. Again, it changes quite a bit, but like The Ones Who Live out of all 3 shows is always, it seems like winning a lot of awards. Like on Netflix, was very, very successful. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. And like, it's really great to see, I think that this does just, it proves to AMC that like they do have to do a season 2 or like a new series. And I really am like starting to lean towards maybe a new series. But again, like The Ones Who Live is winning all these awards and all this stuff is, really just amazing for the show that like people know that title now. Like they know the title, The Ones Who Live. It makes sense to do, that show instead of changing the name and doing a totally different show, because I think doing that would just, and like it would change a lot of how people, I guess, watch The Walking Dead, because I think that's really the biggest issue with the show overall right now. Like The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, honestly, that title is really great, but season 2, adding the Book of Carol to it really did, I feel like, hurt the season overall, because it didn't really feel like a second season. Like even the promotion of the show and everything, like it just never felt like a season 2. It felt like a different show or like a different spinoff or something like that. Like it just felt like something totally different. And so I think that's why they're going back to season 3 now, because a lot of people complained about it, and I think that it just, yeah, I don't know what it is about it, but like titles and stuff for shows, definitely, like it's really important to actually get it right. And I think The Ones Who Live, like originally I wasn't that big of a fan of the title. It works now, and I think calling it something else, it would just be, in terms of people recognizing it and whatnot, like it would just be that much more difficult. So I think it makes sense. Like call it The Ones Who Live season 2. Like I think that makes a lot of sense. But as of right now, we'll have to wait and see, I guess the update on that. Denai Guerrero was actually announced to be in some sort of movie. I believe, I don't know what the movie was called, but I imagine that they're going to start filming that at some point this year or something like that. But that's not that shocking to me or anything, because obviously you're going to start to do like other, roles and whatnot in shows or movies and stuff, because they're not really going to work on like this next story here, or maybe they are working on the story, but they're not going to be really going anywhere with that story for a while, right? So it's obviously gonna take some time. Like obviously we know the reunion at some point is going to happen. It's literally what Andrew Lincoln said. I don't remember the exact words, but it was basically when, right? Like he was saying it would be so cool to see all these characters together and all that, but like he doesn't know when. And I think that's sort of where things are at right now as well. I think they probably know a little bit more because some time has actually passed, right? So they know a lot more of like where, I guess, the story could go, or like where things could be overall. But yeah, I think obviously the show right now is just winning a lot of awards for everything that happened last year. So I think like letting it settle a little bit and whatnot, and work on a story, and then we'll see at some point when they're going to announce whatever. But I do want to talk about The Ones Who Live, or talk about the future of The Walking Dead, because Gimple actually did an interview recently. I believe this is with Collider, at least I'm seeing this from Collider. So I'll leave a link down below to the article if you do want to check it out here. But Gimple actually talked about The Walking Dead and sort of continuing on the story, and this is what he had to say about it. He said, Robert Kirkman, when he initially pitched the comic to Image, it was a zombie movie that would never end. He would always see it in zombie movies and be like, wait, what happens after that? And it was a brilliant idea. And then Robert's own brilliance of character and novelty and credible dialogue, it hooked me as a comic creator. And even though I was working on the show, and then, yeah, he just sort of keeps going on and says, we're picking up the torch and we're trying to do that and whatnot, because it's a zombie movie that never ends. And it's kind of funny because that's why I liked The Walking Dead in the beginning. Was like, whenever I watch zombie movies, it was always a thing that like it would end at a certain point, and I was always like, well, what happens after that? Like, what would happen to the survivors, a year later or a couple of years later? Like, I always tried to like build out the world as much as I could, and it was always one of those things that was obviously kind of, I wanted to see it. I really did. And I think when I look at The Walking Dead, the very first season feels like a typical like zombie movie. And then the second season is like what would happen afterwards. Like after they leave the city and everything and they're trying to survive now, what happens after that? And then we see that throughout season 2, 3, and 4. And now it's been like 10, 15 years and we're seeing what the world is like now, right? Like that's why I really like this world a lot. Like even though it will go through these stretches where it's like a little, not as much is happening and the story gets a little bit more boring. Like there's always like these moments where things get very, very exciting, right? And that's how I view The Walking Dead overall. I think right now things are going to start to get a lot more exciting with Dead City season 2. And then I think season 3 of Daryl Dixon will get a lot better. We'll have to see where things go after that, obviously. That's why Comic-Con is going to be really exciting this year. There's also that mysterious thing that I think they were filming, and there's some rumors that they might be filming something like a new series or something like a new Walking Dead thing anyways, like this summer. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Obviously just rumors, so I don't really know. But Gimple also had this to say here. He said, it's hard in a world where there's a billion TV shows, but yes, the goal is to always have Walking Dead shows on the air and to have those shows that feature the characters people love, and then take those chances and be experimental and do new things with other shows. And so, obviously that's going to be the thing for The Walking Dead for a long time, is there's always going to be shows coming out every single year, right? Like right now there's 2 shows. It's not really a lot. That's just going to be what it's going to be for the next, I don't know, however many years, maybe 5 years. I could see the next, like up until 2030 anyways, there's going to be Walking Dead shows on every single year for sure, at least 2 at a minimum. And then I think maybe in 2026, there's going to be 3. Like, I feel like at some point they are going to like increase the amount. Like, I know The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, like season 3 just wrapped up filming, but I'll do a video on that tomorrow. It's only 6 episodes, but I do think for season 4, they will likely increase the episode amount, because I think when they wrote a lot of what happened for season 3, it was before a lot of, criticism came in for like, the amount of episodes and all of that. So I think what was worked out for Daryl Dixon season 3 just made sense for 6 episodes. And I think that's why going forward for season 4, it's likely going to be like 8 episodes, maybe even more. It could be 10 episodes, but I think for sure 8. It's just, my opinion is sort of how I feel about it. But it just feels like that's always what happens. Like whenever there's some sort of criticism, like it doesn't change right away, but within a couple of months to a year, you can start to see some of the changes and whatnot for for The Walking Dead. And I do think that like the next however many months here are going to be really insane. Like for April and May, especially like the end of March, like mid-March to the end of March, there's going to be a lot of promotion for Dead City. I think starting from then up until really like the end of November, it's going to be a lot of Walking Dead stuff, because Daryl Dixon season 3 is likely going to be coming out in September or October and will air until like, mid-November or something like that. Dead City should finish airing at the end of June or whatever. And then I think that we'll have Comic-Con in July, and that's always really exciting. And then basically we'll have August off, which there's always a lot of stuff happening then anyways, because there could be a new announcement of a new spinoff. There's like teasers and trailers and all that. So it's been very quiet the last like, I guess for December, January, and now going into February. But things are going to pick up quite a bit here. And besides, we have other shows to watch. Honestly, I'm very excited about, The Last of Us season 2. I actually do want to do a video on that. Like this weekend, I'm going to be getting a lot of videos done. So yeah, stay tuned for that, because obviously I'm doing like a carpentry course right now. And so it's been going really well, but it's been hard to do videos and whatnot because I've just been so, focused on that. And so when I get home, I'm a lot more tired and whatnot. And there's like studying and everything. But that's why on the weekends, I'm just going to upload a ton, because I'll be all by myself on the weekends anyway, so I can actually like get to work and, you know, get a lot of content out and whatnot and start to really cover The Last of Us, The Walking Dead. And also I'm kind of thinking about covering Invincible because I heard that season 3 is actually out now. I don't think I'll do like an episode by episode review. Like maybe like we'll have to wait and see. I know that the first 3 episodes I think are out right now, right, for season 3. So maybe I'll just do a review of those 3, or like I don't know how I'm going to do this. I do want to give some thoughts on the show though, because I really do like the show and I haven't really talked about it. So I think what I'll do is maybe just do a full like Invincible review of like season 1 up until now and just sort of give my thoughts on the show as a whole. And then yeah, we'll see from there. But yeah, definitely post all your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Really interesting comments here from Scott Gimple about the future of The Walking Dead. I do think that, yeah, there's always going to be a lot more shows in terms of the experimental stuff and everything and doing new things with other shows. That's really interesting because, you know, I really wonder if there is going to be a new spinoff announced very soon that is going to be just different, right? Like maybe it's an original series. Like I still really want that. I really do want an original series for The Walking Dead, like, or a new original series is what I mean. Obviously we've already had the original series, but a new original series with new characters, no connections to like any of the main characters now. There's a lot of, you know, zombie shows out there right now that I really do think if they just had newer characters, and maybe it's called something like Fear the Walking Dead. I really do think if it is a new series, you should call it something like that. Like, don't have The Walking Dead and then like World Beyond or The Walking Dead Dead City or whatever. Call it like something The Walking Dead. Like, do that for the new series. This way it seems a little different from The Walking Dead. I don't know what you would call it. Like, there's Fear the Walking Dead, that really works. Because the thing about Fear is that it does feel like a different show. So I think you would have to do something similar to that. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna leave it here. Definitely post all your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.